It's been a tough 3 weeks since my last vlog. I had great intentions of uploading vlogs every week, but this last stretch of time, I've just been unable to do that. Since my radiation treatments, my skin is healing magnificently. Everything looks wonderful. But I have, if I'm searching for words, please forgive me, I have mental fog like crazy. I have a hard time thinking, and I definitely have a hard time functioning because of the extreme fatigue that I am feeling. And going through Christmas here, I don't know what timing in your life it's going to be when you are listening to this vlog, but for me, as I'm recording this, it's just several days past Christmas, and I'm standing on the cusp, the threshold of a brand new year, 2025. Since the radiation has wiped me out so thoroughly, I've had no extra energy for anything other than the bare minimums of celebrating what is, in my heart, one of the most amazing times of year, which is Christmas. Because Christmas is when God showed his love for us by sending his son in the form of a human to relate to us, to be able to become ultimately that sacrifice for us on the cross, which we celebrated Easter when he was resurrected from the dead. So Christmas is my number one, and then Easter is my second favorite holiday of the year. So Christmas has a lot of special meaning, and it was a good time, but I found myself unable to do so many of the things that bring me great joy to be able to do for others. I was unable to make my custom gifts I usually make. I was unable to make my homemade hand-dipped caramels that I usually make for my family. And those bring me great joy when I see the joy on the face of the people that I give them to. It brings me great joy. And I've had none of that this year because I've been unable to do it. And what I've realized is, as much as I knew I needed to rest, as much as I knew this was a time for me to reflect and just allow my body to get the rest that it needed, I mentally knew that was what I needed to do, but emotionally I didn't anticipate all of the feelings I was going to have as I was basically reduced to sitting in my chair or lying in bed with my head propped up. Interspersed between those down times of pure rest were times of a couple or 3 times where I was able to see family and friends, and it was wonderful. But this Christmas, I couldn't get away from the fact that this Christmas was very different for me. And what really bothered me, and still bothers me, is the fact that I saw my reaction to it one of discouragement. This is an amazing time of the year. I mean, you have Christmas with Jesus coming, God proving his love to us in sending the Savior of the world, Jesus. This should be an amazing time, a time of joy and a time of contentment and peace. And I'm speaking emotionally here. I didn't have any of that emotionally. Inside, I still had that settledness, that Escher that I knew I was in God's hands and whatever was going to happen was going to happen. So as I went through Christmas and had to deal with the disappointments of not being able to do certain things, I did learn to rest enough that I was able to enjoy the times that I did have with family and friends, and that was wonderful. But I still sensed emotionally this unsettledness in me, this restlessness. That really bothers me because the more I thought about it, the more I prayed about it, the more I realized it was rooted in my own insecurities. I don't know about you, but I have a really good talent of taking anything and making it all about me. I'm good at that. I'm really good at that. And I suspect you probably are pretty good about that too. I know I am. And that's what I realized I was doing yet again with this, making it about me, how I feel when I give gifts. Now, it's wonderful to give gifts. It's wonderful to do things like that, of course. But when you're all discouraged when you can't do it, something's not quite right. So, after a lot of reflection, I had to admit that I was making it about me again, even though I had prayed, God, I don't want it to make it about me. But yet, here I am again. So I had to say, please, Lord, help me. Don't want to make it about me anymore. I choose to focus on what's true. And I never lost sight of what's true. And I never lost sight of the realities of this time of year and of my cancer and the subsequent radiation and all of that, and how God was with me through all of that, working in all of that. I never lost sight of the truths, but boy, my feelings they've been whooping up on me pretty good. Very discouraged. And so as I'm giving you this vlog today, I'm just being honest with you that I am still in process. I thoroughly know the truths of who God is and who I am. I thoroughly accept those. But my emotions sometimes just don't get the memo. They're really slow to respond. Even when I sense that I'm not emotionally where I want to be, and I remind myself of truth, which is always the first thing I do, because the way we think trickles down to our emotions. It engages and creates this environment that our emotions then flow out of. The two are connected. So I always go to what is true and kind of re-upping on that when I feel discouraged. And even after doing that, my emotions did not want to calm down. They have been crazy this past, in particular, 2 weeks. And so I kept reminding myself of truth day in, day out, day in, day out. Finally, I can say I'm starting to not be aware of so much discouragement as I had been, but I'm still discouraged, just being honest with you today. Nobody feels good all the time. I don't care if you're a motivational speaker, you make your livelihood out of telling people how to look on the bright side and it'll always get better and it's not going to always be this way and you need to be positive, you need to reach out for your goals and whatever it is they say. I don't care who you are, even if you're one of those. You are going to have times, if you're honest with yourself, when you're pretty tapped out. You have nothing left emotionally. You just are. And that's the way I've been. And I am grateful. I don't feel grateful. And I guess that's what this whole vlog is about in my rambling way. With my brain fog the way it is, I hope this comes out cogently. But the point that I want to make is none of us feel good all the time. Now, how we choose to think about a particular situation will inform our emotions. It will help shape our emotions. I mean, we can go through something terrible and horrible, and if we choose to hang on to truth and put one foot in front of the other and move forward, we're going to experience it as very painful, but doable, where you know you're going to make it through and it's going to be okay. But if you go through that same circumstance and you think things like, oh, I'm never going to get through this. This is the worst thing that could ever happen. What if that happens? Oh no, what if this happens? Oh man, I can't handle this. If you think that way, then your experience of that same set of circumstances will be very different. It's going to be painful, yes, times 10, because of the way you're thinking. So I think today, the big challenge that I have for you is the same one I've been challenging myself with these past few weeks. And that has been to think about how you're looking at the circumstances in your life. Now, if you know Jesus personally, like I am very, very, very fortunate to know, then your truth has to be shaped by what the Bible says. And I hope for every single one of you that are watching and listening to this vlog, I hope you do have the peace that only God can bring. Through the worst of times, he brings peace that doesn't make sense. That Escher I talked about, he does that. And he's done that for me, and he can do that for you. But if you don't know him, the best you have is your own resources, your own strength, your own get up and go, your own ability to pull yourself up and muscle through. You cope the best way you can. But for you, hope isn't the same as for someone who knows him. So I am hoping today that every single one of you know Jesus personally, know God personally. He loves you, and he does want you to know him. He shows you in 100 ways, but sometimes we're just too busy to notice those little things that he sends our way to let us know that he's there and that he loves us. And I'm hoping for you today that you will open your eyes and see the messages that God is trying to show you, that you are loved no matter what's going on in your life, that you are greatly loved. You're not alone, whatever it is you're dealing with. And that no matter how discouraged you might feel, the encouragement I'm trying to give you is to reach out for what is true and move into it and move forward one step at a time. Yes, it's all true that it will get better. It will not always feel this bad. Everything I've been saying in all these vlogs is all true. I just want you to know today, if you don't get anything else out of this vlog, is that your emotions take a while to settle down. When you're really discouraged, when you're scared, when you're angry, whatever those really difficult emotions are, it takes them a while to calm down. I don't know if you remember seeing those little balancing doohickeys, I don't know what you call them, that people put on their desks a lot of times at work. It might be someone on a tightrope, a little metal statue on a tightrope. It could be someone, a ballerina balancing on one toe. There's different designs, but the point of them is they have a balance point where when they find that correct balance, they are completely still and perfectly balanced on this little bitty base that they sit on. But when you touch them, they move. And they go all over the place from every different angle here and they're just all over. They're still on the base, but they're not balanced in the middle. They're just all over the place. And then even if you don't touch it again, it takes a while, but slowly and surely, those motions become less and less until there's that balance again. And that's the way it is. When you tell yourself the truth, it takes a while for the emotions to respond. They're still too busy swinging all over the place. And it takes a while for those emotions to calm down. But hang in there, because if you keep telling yourself what is true, that God does love you, that he does have a reason for whatever he's allowing to happen in your life, and that he will bring good out of it if you trust him, that he loves you, that you're not alone. All of those things that are so comforting and so true. If you keep reminding yourself of those things, your emotions are still going to be upset because it takes a while for them to calm down. But don't give up. Keep telling yourself what is true, and you will find the balance again. God will be gracious to do that. He will be gracious to do that, as he is doing with me. And it can be a long process, but he will do it. So today, I am hoping for you, no matter what you're going through, that you will choose hope, choose truth, choose to believe that God is showing you how much he loves you in 100 different ways. If you could only open your eyes to see the love that he has for you. So today, choose hope. It's intangible. You can't see it. You can't touch it. But when you have it, it's this internal state of mind and state of being that is a game changer. It enables you to go through anything and everything, no matter how hard, and emerge intact on the other side. Hope is what I hope for you today. Until next time.